much less significant.
Hey, it's Brett from Grumpy Duck. Today we're going to pattern this 28 gauge shotgun out to 40 yards, but first we're going to mount the red dot. To do that, you're going to need all the appropriate tools. We're going to mount a Burris Fastfire 3. You're going to need a torque wrench, blue Loctite. Do not use red. You can use clear nail polish to secure your hardware. This is a Mossberg SA28. We'll be shooting a couple different chokes, a couple different shells. So let's get started on the mount. So for this, we're going to add just a tiny dab of Loctite to the start of the threads. And to get it on both, we will just put the screws together. And in this case, to make sure you're not cross-threading, start it backwards until it drops in. So in this step, we'll get these hand tight because these will get torqued to 18 inch-pounds. When you're torquing bolts, you want to start lower than your end result. So in this case, we'll start at 14, slow steady turn till the wrench clicks. So that's 14 on the back. We'll go to 14 on the front. So then we'll adjust the torque wrench up to our 18 foot-pounds. Finish torquing. The base is mounted with Loctite. And on the Fastfire 3s, the batteries are inside the sight instead of underneath like the 2s. So again, we'll Loctite the threads. Touch of blue Loctite, you don't need very much. Drop these in place. Now these take a separate bit. This is a Star bit versus an Allen. Make sure they start clean. And these will get torqued to a maximum of 15 inch-pounds. And I hope I said inch-pounds instead of foot-pounds before. So on this, if they're going to 15, we'll start at 12 and then end up at 15. Again, slow, steady turn, click, and take it up to your final torque. Now, this is a custom base on any mount or rail. You want to be sure that your hardware doesn't stick through the receiver, causing any malfunctions on the inside of the gun. But other than that, this is our preferred way to mount a red dot for a turkey setup. So we'll take this and head to the range and see what we got on paper at 40 yards. Hey guys, Brett here again. We're up at the hunting camp where we're going to pattern this shotgun. We have the same 28 gauge Mossberg. We're going to test out a couple chokes. We have a Tru-Lok in 520 and we have an Indian Creek in 525 along with the factory choke. We have some Apex, some Foxtrot, and also some hand-loaded TSS shells we're going to try today. But first we're going to start with getting the red dot bore sighted on paper to make sure our point of aim, point of impact is correct. And we're going to start with just regular low brass with that. We have the target set up at 20, so we're going to go ahead and sit down and get this started. All right guys, and to start bore sighting, I have a regular low brass number 9. We have the 20-yard paper, and for this to be most effective, what you want to be able to do is repeat where the gun is sitting. So in this case, I have a heavy sandbag. I'm going to get the dot lined up exactly on the center, and like this is just to see where your point of aim, point of impact is. Safety off. So, didn't eject the light load, but that's okay. So we're gonna go check the point of aim, point of impact, and we'll give it back. Okay, so with that, I was holding here and the pattern hit low, and I'd say maybe a touch right. So what you wanna do is mark the center of your pattern. At this point, I'm gonna say that's probably it. So what we'll do now is we'll go back to the bench and we'll get the gun steady, lined up on here, and we'll move the dot to be here and reshoot the process. All right guys, so we have our point of impact and we marked where we wanna move our dot to. So what we'll do is, and you can use as many bags or whatever rest, a lead sled would come in handy here. So what you wanna do is get the dot aimed back on where you aimed on your first shot. So you're gonna basically re-center on the bullseye you originally were aiming at, and then we're gonna move the dot to the new center that you want. So basically, it needs to be nice and stable right here. And then you can take your screwdriver, and there's indicators up and down. So I want to move it down. And it went a full turn, maybe a little bit more. And I am going to move it a touch to the right. All right, and we'll just go an eighth of a turn there to see what happens. So now what we'll do is we'll put a new dot and aim and shoot and see where our point of impact, point of aim is. Ready? All right, so again, this is our second shot. This was our aim. This is the impact. I would say the pattern is still a little low and right for me. So what I'll do is, again, put my dot about here, and I'll over exaggerate it, maybe just a touch. I figure that's about the center where I want it. And then we'll, again, aim for here, move the dot to here, and shoot a third one. All right, just put a new dot on, so this will be our third shot to confirm our point of aim, point of impact is moving in the right direction. Point of aim, point of impact. You can see the pattern left and right looks really good. It's probably about 70-30 up and down, maybe a touch more, but at this point what I'll do is I'll move the target back to 40, and then we'll start with our turkey loads and turkey chokes and see where the point of aim, point of impact ends up with that. All right guys, so we moved the target back. It's at 40 yards. We have the Tru-Lok in 520 constriction in this Mossberg SA 28 gauge. We're gonna use, to start, an Apex Greenleaf. It's a 9 and 10 blend. So it's 1.5 ounces out of a 520 at 40 yards. All right guys, so this is our first 40-yard pattern with a 28 gauge with 1.5 ounce, 9s and 10s. You can see the pattern is definitely high, which we knew it at 20 it was high, but with the turkey load and that same choke it stayed up. So in this case, we're pretty good left and right. I might try to shade it just a touch to the right, but I would say it might be a touch high. I'm gonna shoot for the center of the pattern to be here. So again, we'll need to move the dot back up, and then we'll shoot again, see what happens. All right guys, so this was our second shot with TSS after our adjustment. It was about our fourth adjustment. So you could see point of aim was here, and the target, or the pattern rather, is probably 60-40. So aiming at the feather line on the turkey, you've got his head here. And left and right it's even, the whole pattern itself is even. There's nothing else I'd change out of this. So that's a Tru-Lok 520 with Apex Greenleaf blends, 9s and 10s, out of a Mossberg SA 28 at 40 yards. So now we'll test some Indian Creek, some Foxtrot ammo, and see where we go from there, see if anything improves. All right guys, so we got the first load and choke dialed in. That was an Apex with a Tru-Lok, so we switched the chokes. We're not gonna change anything else. So now we're gonna try a 525 Indian Creek with the same Apex 9x10 1.5 ounce load. Let's actually put it in the chamber. And we're ready to go. So same process. All right guys, so we finished up patterning today. We found the load and choke that worked very well out of this gun very quickly. Didn't have to do much tinkering around, but of course we went ahead and did that. You can mess around with these guns with different loads and chokes as much as you want. Just remember to change one variable at a time when you're testing these things, and don't be surprised when you change a couple variables and your point of impact might change, but always go back to what you know will work and then move on from there. So in this case, yeah, we got it dialed in pretty quick. We went, right now it's got the 520 True-Lock, and either of the Foxtrot or Apex shoots very well out of this gun. So we're ready to hunt.